the topic of the discussion and hit the issues you typically find reluctant. Remove the facade to fill the gap with some substance. We undermining problems, expecting to overcome it. Please hold the applause. We doing it for the cause. People follow culture before they follow the laws. We rather face the friction and not attempt it at all. Persistence will find solutions once our contentment dissolves. There's a hard pill to swallow for anyone breathing, both for folks who stay woke and those who be dreaming. We ain't slaves, yet we still ain't experienced freedom. What we need is the keys to access the kingdom. We're all in this fallen world trying to stay intact. I'm just a beggar, point you out to where the bread is at. So follow the breadcrumbs like Hansel and Gretel. Thank Yogi Bear and the thought engineer for that on Monday. It's Man Talk Monday. Woo!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Man Talk Mondays. Another Monday is upon us, and we are here on your computer screen, in your living room, wherever you're watching this. We here.
In your car.
In your car, everywhere.
There you go.
I'm Derek, the thought engineer, with my man, comedian John Yogi. How you feeling tonight, man?
Man, I am feeling good, man. It was a really good Monday today. It was a great day. We're going to have an even greater show. Can't wait to get into it, man.
Oh, man. We are raring and ready to go. I hope everybody is ready. Let's get out the pleasantries. Let me remind everybody, this is Man Talk Mondays. It's an open forum where we talk about the real deal life as it pertains to relationships, trying to help people in marriages, parental relationship, anything dealing with relationships, but we're coming from a man's perspective. Now, keep in mind, this is not just for men. We want everybody to come in and participate, come into the conversation. How you do this, you go into the comment section, leave your comment, leave your question. We can see this. This is how you talk to us, but by all means, we want to hear from you. And I know y'all gonna have some things you want to say tonight. So make sure you get in that chat. Let us know what's on your mind. Right. Hey, how you doing?
Hey.
You got people joining us. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. Right. We have our podcast. We have an audio version as well. You can find us on Apple, Google, Spotify, Spreaker, all of the major platforms where you find podcasts. You can find the audio version, or you can also catch us on your TV. We are on BS3 TV on Roku, right? If you have a Roku TV or a Roku device, you can catch us live, or you can go back and catch past episodes on the BS3 TV channel on Roku. If you don't have a Roku device or TV, you can also catch us on your computer screen, right? We have a direct web link. We have bs3tvlive.com. If you go there, you can watch us live right now on your computer screen. We are part of the BS3 network of podcasts. A lot of great podcasts, a lot of great content. So along with Man Talk Mondays, you can find a whole lot of stuff that will fit what you want to listen to, right? So by all means, make sure you check us out. Well, we won't prolong the time. We're going to get into this. So ladies and gentlemen, man, talk about it.
On Man Talk About today, I want to talk about relationships. I mean, I know that's funny, but a lot of times we are in a hurry to get in and out of relationships for one reason or another. For most of the time, it's because we don't want to be by ourselves. For other times, it's because we're kind of embarrassed and we don't really want people to know that we feel in the kind of way. But it's actually kind of frustrating because, man, we need the time. The problem is we rushed into it. So if the problem is we rushed into the relationship and we rushing out to get into another one, please, somebody explain to me, what is the rush? What is the rush? Where we going? What we doing? What we have to rush? Life, you can never stop to smell the flowers if we're rushing in and out of everything, especially relationships. Because most of the time when you rush out of a relationship, you don't give yourself enough time to heal. We don't want to admit this a lot of times, guys, but we're hurting. We're feeling the kind of way, and we think the best thing for it is to get with is to meet and be with somebody else, and that's not necessarily so. It is actually kind of frustrating because people will ask you, "Hey, man, talk. I want to ask y'all about this," and we tell y'all, and y'all don't pay attention to what we're saying, which can be kind of frustrating. So I'm gonna need my partner Derek to come in and share this with me, talk about this with me. D, help me
Man,
understand.
you know the crazy philosophy. The best way to get over somebody is to get under somebody else.
I don't understand that.
We got philosophies out there that they're really damaging to us. And like you said, people are not taking the time to do the work before they move on. And it's causing a whole lot of chaos, in relationships. And I think it's a cycle that's going, and it's dangerous, man. It's real dangerous. But
well, not only is it dangerous, D, hurting people hurt people. So if you're dragging your issues in and out of relationships, you're affecting other people while you're doing it. And can I just say this? Most of us are crazy in our heads anyway. And as we keep getting in and out of relationship, man, it's not really helping anybody. It's not. Right. If you're not getting better coming out of relationships, you need to talk to somebody. You need to stop and say, you know what? I'm feeling the kind of way. Perhaps I need to chill. Perhaps I need to get used to me. Perhaps I need to get to know me better. Because, contrary to the belief, Derek, people don't know themselves like they think they do.
You're right.
And people will lie to them, and they will also lie to themselves
all day long.
At some point, don't we have to be honest with ourselves about what we want in relationships?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. But you said something I think was key. They need to get some help. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we got some help for you tonight. Back by popular demand. Or really, we just called him because we really wanted him back. It was just great to talk to him the last time, right? So we really want to bring him back. But Good. People have been responding, and I think they'll be pleasantly surprised to have him back on. Joining us tonight, we have the one, the only Dr. Rod Stodghill joining us tonight for this conversation.
That's my man.
How you doing, Dr. Rod?
Doing good. It's good to be back, guys. I love this show.
Good, man.
Hey, man, it's great to have you back. I don't know if you got a chance to really hear what we were talking about.
Yeah.
About, how people, the philosophies that are out there that people, adopt that are really working against people as far as, building healthy relationships and the whole nine. So tonight we want to talk about it. We're talking about Too Hurt to Love Again. Too Hurt to Love Again, healing from past relationships. So I just want to ask you, what would cause a person not to do the work before they move on?
That's an easy answer. Too much pain. So picture this. We got all this pain hidden down in our subconscious, in our soul. And so we suppress it down. We push it way down inside, and we don't want to process. And some of us don't have a safe place to process. And so what we do is we press it down, then we hold our breath and we move on. Now I need to intoxicate. Now I need to get a buzz. Now I need to get a high. I need to dilute this pain. I need to deny it somehow, to be distracted by it. And another relationship gives a buzz, but it's setting you up because you're not healthy enough to be able to be in a relationship.
I remember.
Go ahead, Dave. I'm sorry.
I remember talking to you years ago, and I remember you saying something that's always stuck with me. You said people need external noise to drown out the internal noise.
That's right.
And because we have so much internal noise, and the external noise could be this next relationship or the drinking and all this type of things, the bad behaviors that people put up because they just can't sit and think because of the pain. How do people learn to cope with the internal noise?
Yeah, you got to deal with it. I want you to picture every time you get hurt and you don't deal with it, you put a Polaroid hidden in your soul. And those Polaroids begin to talk to each other, and they begin to create a narrative. And that narrative begins to rule you. And so what you've got to do is you got to go back and you've got to process through every one of those suppressed pains. It's not regression therapy. It's not where you're going through and you're going back through all the memories. It's wherever you've intentionally chosen to repress something, you have to express it. Depression is most of the time, now there's a clinical depression, you need a medical professional to help you with that. However, most of the time, depression is repression of a pain that's built up over time.
Wait. You gotta say that one more time. So depressed, because that's a word that people throw around a lot, is depression. So please, one more time, tell them again what depression.
So when I get hurt and I repress that pain and I don't process it, I take the breath that I breathe out of my being and I press it down into me. I put it into a ball and I force it down. Depression is exhaustion from repressing all that pain.
Oh,
wow.
So the depression is because you tired. You were worn out.
Absolutely.
Oh my
goodness. And your mind can't figure it out.
There you
your
go.
Mind has done the rabbit. The emotions are saying, hey, I can't handle this. The will says, listen, I'm messed up here. And eventually you're going to become so chemically messed up. Now you got to have medical intervention. Now you got to go see a psychiatrist. Now you got to get some medical. You got to undo the chemistry that you spent over time by the exhaustion. That's why the first thing to do is when you get hurt, the first step is just to breathe it out, just to let it out. Let there be a physical expression of it so that you can feel it.
But the crazy thing is, though, and not to take away from anything you're saying, but relationships, people get hurt all the time. Literally, people get hurt all the time. And I hate to say what's the big deal to kind of minimize it, but man, that's a part. Being hurt is a part of life. One time I had met this girl and I had a Jerry curl and I had it like in a ponytail.
Oh my goodness.
And so they dropped her off, and as they were dropping her off, I ran out and she ran back and got in the car. I was hurt. I was hurt. But that's a part of. But that's a part of it, though. But that's a part of it. I remember like it was yesterday. Maybe I took a picture in my soul that
Yeah, you just looked at that picture, didn't you?
Yeah.
You described the Jerry curl and everything. You saw the picture. Yeah.
But I'm saying you wouldn't think it would be so. People would worry like they do because man, hurt is a part of relationships, though, right? We oftentimes we don't find the person that we end up with first. We normally have to go through some hurts and pains before we can appreciate when God does bring us what we're supposed to have. Am I crazy?
You're right on. And now, however, if that picture, that rejection that you felt took you back to an aunt saying something, or maybe a cousin saying something when you were 10, 11, and those two pictures line up, now we got a narrative. Now we got a storyline going in your subconscious, and that's damage. That's something you need to process. You're right. If you're going to really love, it's going to hurt. You have to accept that, and you have to be able to press your way. Psalm 126 says, "Those who sow their tears in grief reap sheaves of joy." And if in a relationship you learn how to share grief together, it always produces joy. Now you may not be together. That's not the promise. But that you will have a joy together and you realize, hey, we're not meant for each other. We're good friends. Let's leave it at that. And you can make those decisions.
I think about survival of the fittest in that whole concept. And, we say the animal kingdom pretty much kind of functions off that, because animals are trained to hide their hurts, because if they display it, they're going to be prey.
Yes.
And I don't know where we've gotten this. People get in relationships, but there's this antagonistic relationship between people who are together. And it's like, if I show hurt, if I show weakness, the person I'm in a relationship with, they're going to get me. How do we fix our minds from that?
That's where the risk factor comes in. Is you have to be willing to take a risk. You have to willing to be, and you have to have those past pains where you were vulnerable. To have a relationship, you have to be open at a 10. You have to be honest at a 10. You have to be vulnerable at a 10. That's what it takes. Two people coming together and being able to process that, hey man, my ex-boyfriend, when you talk like that, that's what I feel. Hey, man, when you do that with your hand, that my ex-girlfriend used to do that, that hurts. And so we have to be able to process, because most of the time we can't be present because we're stuck in the past.
Oh, wow.
And grief is always an invitation to joy. So if you grieve me and you're honest with me, and I had a young lady a week ago sit down next to me and said, "You're like a father to me, and you've not been checking up on me, and I'm hurt." And I looked in her eyes and I said, "I own that. I'm sorry. Would you forgive me?" And she forgave me right there on the spot. And now the proof in the pudding is going to be whether or not I follow through on that, whether or not it's real.
Mm-hmm. Now, you just said something. You said what? Grief, or was it vulnerability, is an invitation to joy?
Yes, grief is always, Derek, if I did something and it hurts you, and you come to me and said, "Hey, Rod, when you did that, that really hurt," that is, you're inviting me to joy between us. Now, we can go out, we can go to Disney World and have some fun and have happy shared, but joy shared always comes out of grief share.
Oh,
always.
Wow.
The only way you get to joy there, and then this is something I learned at Concord Church. I learned when I'd get up to preach, and I would see those deacons, those older deacons have been through some stuff, and they would bow their heads down and looking at my skin, and they remember the pain. And then they would look back up and they remember me.
Wow.
And I would be quiet for 1 second and honor that pain and honor that grace they were extending me to be there. And their invitation, they're talking to me about their stories again and again, was an invitation to join their grief. And now we have a joy that we share together.
Wow.
Even though it's not as deep as what the deacons share with each, or what that age, that generation shares with each other, not even close, but still I can have a fellowship with unbelievable deep grief. And so when one of them was passing, and he asked me to pray for him. And so I prayed. The family was there, so I prayed for him, and I'm weeping. He's weeping. He pulls me up next and holds me to his chest and won't let go. And his family said, "Whoa, whoa, whoa. I thought you didn't like white people, Papa." And he said, "Oh, this brother ain't white. He ain't white." And yet it was a heart thing where we were bound together because he had shared his stories of what he went through in Mississippi. And his grief now became, in that moment of his dying, became our joy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because when you said Concord, I remember when he used to be off of was it Polk?
Yeah.
Yeah, I see Polk. But yeah, and that was predominantly black church.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And that was in the hood.
Yeah.
I was trying to figure out how were you received over there, but I guess you kind of told me how you received.
Well, Pastor Bailey went out of his way. He heard what I was doing at a North Dallas church of healing people, and he asked me to bring that to Concord.
Wow. That is amazing. Well, we're just a few minutes in, and I mean, you hitting us right and left already. So if you're listening and you like what you're hearing, make sure you share this out. Share this out right now so people can come into the conversation and listen in to hear what we're talking about here with Dr. Rod. I've seen so many people who they move on, and then they get into the relationship, and it's like that past starts pulling on them again. And I remember you said the last show you came on with us, you said that there was a formula you gave for if your dad had been missing for so long, like so many months to how many years that they have been absent, that as far as the time you have to give yourself, is there a similar amount of time or something, some kind of formula as far as time is concerned? When you move from one relationship to another, you got to allow yourself some time?
Well, it really depends on your ability to be honest with yourself. You guys were talking about that. That is the highest thing you can do, is your ability to tell yourself the truth. Most of us can't. And what God does, he allows us to experience pain at a being level. If you meet someone and they've been being a mother that's lost a child, a father that's lost it, you meet someone that has had intense being pain, they are a truth teller. They have the ability to be able to tell the truth to themselves. And a lot of times we avoid this being pain. It's a gift from God, not authored by God, but it's a gift that you can use to tell yourself the truth. And a lot of times what happens, the number one thing, if you move into a relationship and you need that person, you'll shipwreck it.
Oh, wow.
If you need that person, you will take from that person. It's like two leeches sucking on the same dog. Eventually, that dog's going to die. So what you want to be able to do is get to where I want the person from my being, but I don't need them at all. I need God.
Ooh. I
want you at a 10. I need you at a 0. That's a healthy relationship.
I want you at a 10. But what about all of the songs? Baby, I need you. I can't be without you. And we hear all of this, and people say this. That's the hook. That's the hook. But I need you. And oh man, we set ourselves up for a lot of failure.
From the beginning of the relationship, though. See, that's the thing. It's at the beginning of the relationship. I'm just curious how many people that are listening today go into relationships with the wrong expectation or the wrong want and need level. I'm curious because you'll soon find out that those are a lot of the bad relationships that we go through.
So you asked the question. It's a difficult answer. I can give you a rough answer based upon 40 years of experience. The real answer that I want everybody to hear is when you're able to move into another relationship with your want at a 10 and your need at a 0.
So does that mean need wise? Because there's a lot of talk about this table. What do you bring to the table?
Exactly.
And all of this type of stuff. Is that table addressing needs? Because it sounds like it's addressing needs, but we should be focusing on wants.
Because when you want from your heart, when you want from your being, it's going to be pure. I want a godly man. I want a godly woman. I want to be able to look and know they have character. I want to know that this person is going to take care of me. Yet I don't need anything from them. Guys come in, and my wife and I, we have wrestled. We're going through some great growth right now, is because when I married her, she was German, and I was overseas in Germany. She needed me. And I needed her to help me heal from my mother's wound. And that meant I was consuming her. She was consuming me. And we had to get to this place where I want you to be a part of my healing, but I don't need you. What it does is it moves the umbilical cords out of the sucking of life out of the other person.
Wow.
And now you can begin to be present, because my need leads to greed. Always. I need more.
My need leads to greed.
More. I need more. I need more loving. I need you to tell me. I need you to make me feel this. I need more sex. I need more sexy. I need, baby.
Whoa. Did you bring sex? Don't bring sex into it. No.
The wheels come off then, boy. The wheels come off.
Right, though. Because the more that you need, the more that I give you, the more you're going to need from me. The more you're going to need and want from me. I think that's a really good point.
They get hungry and they want more. I want more money. I want more of your time. I want more of this. You begin to feed their thinking, their feeling, and you're feeding that narrative. Your job, they expect you to negate that narrative. And I can buzz you. I can take you first class. We can go to New York City and we can do that. But until the credit cards run out, and then we're in trouble. Now you're going to bounce from me because I'm not meeting your needs anymore. And you're saying I broke the wedding vows. You say you're not as sexy as you were when we got married at 20. You've gained this weight, 5-6 babies. Look at you. You're a pumpkin now. And I married a model. You broke the contract. And you're not, I need you to be sexy.
What if you the pumpkin now and she still alive?
That's me.
But you said you broke the contract.
That's it. It's a contract.
There's a non-verbal contract, because I know we're not voicing, what these needs and wants. So there's a non-verbal contract. And why do people fail so horribly at that communication between the needs and wants?
Can't be honest. They cannot be honest. The thing that when people come to see me, I ask them, I said, how honest do you want me to be?
Oh,
How
that's a loaded
honest
question.
and most people can't handle the truth, just like it said in that Marine movie, you can't handle the truth. And that's it. So what I have to do is slowly get them to be open, slowly get them to be honest, slowly get them to be vulnerable, and show that I'm not going to judge them. I love you. It's unconditional. And yet we're gonna get to this point. And the answer is always with the person. I'm not an answer man. The answer's in their heart. This is what I tell women. Women have this supernatural, and guys too, but women have this supernatural. A woman comes up, well, Pastor, I want to tell you what I feel. No, I don't want to hear what you feel. Tell me what you know.
Oh, wow.
Tell me what you know. And then they'll say, oh, my feelings are too loud. You're exactly right. Your soul's in the way. Your pictures that you're hanging on the subconscious, this narrative is driving you crazy, and it's moving your mouth, which is moving him away.
Oh.
And we got to shut it down. We got to, first of all, you've got some grief. Let's get you to express the grief. You've been deeply, deeply hurt, deeply stabbed, bloody. We got to get this grown out. We got to get this cry out so that you get free.
Yeah, so
I thought it was me. Okay. I don't know. Let me apologize first. I thought it was me because it was spinning. I thought it was me, and I was checking to make sure when me and y'all was back.
Oh, okay. He thought he had some technical issues, and he didn't realize.
Yeah.
But that's a lot to take in. So, how much of this truth? How much of this truth is me taking responsibility for my part in the last relationship? How much of that truth involves that?
It is almost impossible if you have repressed grief for you to be able to discern where your responsibility is, because the pain's too much. Your mind, your emotions, your will not let you go there. And so what you have to do is you have to process the grief, and that pain creates a level playing field so that now you can look at the truth. Now I can look and say, okay, they messed up on this. I messed up on this. Now I'm at a point of confronting what's wrong, repenting from what I did wrong, choosing to do better, reconciling with myself, reconciling with the others. Now I can move forward into a relationship.
Yeah, but you can't. But when it comes to most relationships, right? I mean, it's just funny because most of the time when people get divorced, most people can kind of see how most people say, "Yeah, I could have did a little more of this, or I could have did a little more of that." But I'm noticing now nobody wants to take any blame or any credit for the relationship going bad. And
Exactly.
And my understanding is we if we walk down the aisle together, then it's on both of us to make the relationship work, not just one person. But it just seems like we're kind of getting really far away from that.
Yes. And so that's where the honesty's got to come in. You've got to be able to be convicted. And this is the key thing I would encourage people to do is when God convicts you, make sure you don't interpret that conviction. But listen to what God is convicting you of. Don't edit it. So I had a couple come in. He had messed around. I said, what are the wounds you put on her heart? And so he looked in her eyes. Well, I messed around. Doctor, that's a stupid question. I said, no. Look in her eyes. And he said, I was unfaithful to my best friend. I said, now there you go.
Oh, wow.
That's truth. And then she started crying. She could start healing in that moment because he confessed what God was convicting him of. Not the physical act that he did, not how many times he did it or with who he did it, but he was looking at the being that he hurt. And what we don't do, we don't look each other in the eye and own the damage that I did.
Wow.
Well, guys, and I hate to say this, guys generally don't have a problem doing that like women do.
Right.
Am I missing something? Or is there a special class for women, or what do we do for women?
If a man will look in her eyes and he'll be quiet and he'll own the feminine wound that he does not understand, Because the ache of her heart is to be chased, to be cherished, to be nourished, to be prepared and presented before God in all of her feminine glory. If he does not own how he damaged that, and he's got to speak feminine words that will not make any sense to him. He's going to speak from his male head, his male brain, using male words, and all she's going to hear is, you don't love me. You don't understand. If he gets quiet, the Holy Spirit's going to give him supernatural insight to how he hurt her. For example, when Gabi and I were dating, I flew back home and I kissed the next girlfriend. Just kissed. That's all I did. Just kissed.
Well, them exes, boy.
Yeah. and so my job, so when I went back, I didn't understand for years. And I finally said to Gabi, I finally said to my wife, God, when I kissed you August 12th, 1978, God opened up a special book of love. And you wrote in my book of love and I wrote in yours. We had the special book of love that God was writing. And then I let somebody else scribble on the pages.
Oh
wow.
And it was deep for me. It was like, wow. And it was like, yeah, I've known that for 20 years. You're just catching up.
Oh,
and
wow.
So that allowed a deeper healing to happen in Gabi's life, because I could speak her heart. And this is the way you lead a woman. This is the way you lead a man. If you want to lead a woman, if you want a woman to chase you, to cherish you, then you know her heart better than she knows herself. And then she'll tear her heart out of her chest and she'll hand it to you. If you want to know a man, you want to get a man, know his heart, prophesy, speak forth his heart better than he does himself.
I hope y'all writing this down. I hope y'all writing this down.
And again, please share this. Share this. Somebody needs to hear this. Somebody needs to hear this. Make sure we're sharing this.
And dads, I would say the same thing goes for your daughter. By the age of 8 years old, you want her taking her heart out and handing it to you and said, Daddy, I trust you more with my heart than I trust myself, before the little guys come. And then she'll tell you, she said, hey, Dad, this boy touched me, or this happened, or this happened. She'll keep you on the main line. Same thing with your sons. Moms, it's hard. You got to know their heart better than they do. And then you can lead them. That's the only way we lead. We don't lead by dictating. We don't lead by power. We lead by authority, that I know your heart better than you know yourself.
Wow. So
do we pay attention that much, though?
No,
really
we don't. Now, we do when we're dating. We're dating. Oh, my goodness. We're good. If she's tuned in, he's tuned in. The Bible verse is Genesis chapter 2, is that you're to leave your father and mother, and you're to chase her. You're to pursue her. You're to be magnetized to her. The Hebrew word's debak, cling to her. We do it great until the ring's on the finger, and then it's like, hey, chasing's over.
So the clinging is to continue the attention to keep that information on point.
At a being level.
Wow.
No wonder the whispers, it says in Ephesians chapter 5, you're to cherish her. You're to listen to her hearts and to hear the whispers of her heart and to capture and fulfill them before she even knows that they're there. That's what makes her take her heart out of her chest, hand it to you, and say, I trust you more than I trust myself. That's marriage.
I can remember me and my wife were dating, and I was struggling. Point blank period. I was struggling. Didn't have that stable job and the whole nine. But here I am. I'm trying to be with her, be in a relationship with her. And whenever we would argue, of course, I couldn't argue with her. She would always get the best of me. So this one time we get into an argument, and I heard the Holy Spirit tell me, shut up. And I had to sit there and just take this verbal assault. But after he told me to hush, I could hear her heart.
Yeah, there you go.
And behind the fussing, the neck rolling, the finger pointing, the whole nine, I heard, I'm scared. And I heard, and you're right, I responded to that way more than I responded to all of the fussing.
Yeah.
Because I was like, okay, I get what's going on now. And so as a man, that said, I got to dig deeper.
Yeah.
I got to do more to secure give her that security that she's looking for. And it wasn't until a prophet came to the church and told her, listen, this one will not hurt you like those in the past.
Wow.
A prophet told her, this one will not hurt you like those in the past. He said that to her. And because we were engaged at the time, but she was still holding on. She was still holding on. And she said, boy, if he hadn't said what he said to me, I don't know. I don't know if we would. So I absolutely, I can definitely relate to what you're saying, because yeah, I did experience that.
Yeah. You negated the narrative of the pictures that were burned on the images on the side of her soul. And you negated it in a moment. You died. And you connected your spirit to her heart, and she followed you. But she didn't want to. Because her head screamed, he's still going to hurt you because he's one of them. He's going to hurt you. And her feelings are saying, I'll echo in the choir up here, said, yeah, but he's going to do it. He's going to do it. And her will is saying, listen, girl, we already made this. You already made a vow. You said you'd never, ever trust anybody again. What you doing? Yet her heart was saying, he sees me. He believes me. And her heart was saying, I am in love with this man. And yet her soul was dead set against you.
Yes, indeed.
So Dr. Rod, so what happens when we encounter, or we're trying to build a relationship with someone that's obviously hurting from some past things? How do we work through that or get past that when there are some issues that we didn't necessarily bring about, but that we're having to deal with?
What you got to recognize, do you have a bridge between you and them? If there's no bridge, there's nothing you can do except trying to build a bridge. If you try to go profit on them and you have no authority in their life and you have no connection,
wow.
Jesus said you're casting your pearl before swine. They're gonna turn on you. And so what you do is that the answer is this: it's always love. And when somebody feels encased in love, when they feel encased in they're not going to be judged, they have a tendency to open up a little bit. And what they want to do is they want to see, I'm going to give you an inch. What are you going to do with that inch? You're going to hurt me? Or are you going to say, hey, thank you, I appreciate that? You're trying to create an atmosphere that's safe. Derek, you just did a great picture of your wife throwing up. She threw up all of this bile, all of this stuff from other people, and she threw it all up, and then you sit there and you took it. Now, you don't want to take abuse. You don't want to take mental abuse. You don't want to take, but sometimes you got to take it for just a minute. You don't want to take none physical abuse at all, especially from a guy to a gal. Nothing. I don't tolerate that even a little bit. Yet sometimes there's verbal, just a throwing up, just like, and then what you should see as they vent, the gas escapes. There should be a moving to being open on it. Listen, this is not about you. I know this. If there's not that, if they ramp it up, then they've got a production machine of rage going on. You need to get away from that person.
Really?
Wow.
If they throw up and they ramp up, then they've got a machine, a rage machine inside of them, and they're looking to consume somebody.
Oh wow.
Wow. And I'm getting a mental picture of you saying this, because if there's just a short supply, it should run out. But if there is something behind it produced, oh wow.
Yeah.
That's
there are
huge.
those that are throwing up because they're sick, and then those that have a factory of it. And they're producing, and we'd call that a Jezebel spirit. We'd call that somebody that has a Jezebel.
So whether you have a Jezebel or a Jezebel,
a Jezebel, that's right.
How can we? I guess if we have that spirit in us and we know we're hurting, we need to stay away from other people until we get some help.
Exactly.
Doc, we're not going to do that, because I need to be with somebody. I need to be with somebody to get me away from me. So I need to be with somebody.
I cannot help somebody until their pain is at an 8. If their pain's at a 6, they've got options. If their pain's at an 8, they are running out of options, and they're running out of time, and they are brutally honest, and they'll tell you, hey, this is messed up. Hey, I'm messing up. Yeah, she messed up. They got these issues, but I want to fix me. I want to work on me. Okay, good. I can help you. But if I have couples, the key thing a guy's going to wrestle with is apathy. Most guys just don't care. Hey, sweetheart, I just don't care. And most women are going to wrestle with emotional violence. They're going to deal with this unbelievable that you need to resolve my pain. And it's going to push the guy away into apathy.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I remember when me and Cheryl we were newlyweds, and I was a knucklehead and she had a little knucklehead in her. And I went to God and I was like, God, I don't want to make anybody miserable, and I don't want to be miserable either. And he said to me, so you got to start being quiet. I was like, but if I be quiet, who gonna tell her what to do? And he said, start leading her and stop beating her over the head with how you want her to be. And I did it, and I think that's when officially our marriage started. Yeah, I had to stop beating over the head of what I thought a wife should be, and lead her like a husband should be.
Right. Yeah. And you lead each other with groans and not information. We think the females think, if I just give them the information, it'll fix it. It doesn't help us at all. Romans 8 says there are groans too deep for words, and we need to pray for our wives. We need to pray for our husbands. We need to pray for the men in our life, the women in our life, our children, our parents, with groans, so that we can go places in prayer that we don't understand.
Yeah.
And there's sometimes a kid does something. Every one of my kids did something at some time in their life where I was just like, I had nothing but groans. I'd fall out of my bed on my face and just
when you don't have words. Have words. Yes.
Jeez. Now I know I did the same thing to my parents, so I guess it's bad. God is making sure I pay back for what I put on my parents. Yet there's times with your wife, there's times with your husband. It's not time for words. It's time for prayer. It's time for grunt. I love what you said. Both of you said it. When you get quiet, now you can go to heart mode. If you're loud, you're in head mode. You're in soul mode. You're processing. And what you want to do is you want to be quiet. In your quietness, you want to be still. In your stillness, you want to rest. Remember that you're loved. And then listen. And that allows you to be present. And Derek, I love what you said. I saw she was scared. Most women are scared. Most women, their vulnerability, they've exposed themselves physically, emotionally, financially, sexually, and they're not covered. They want to be covered. The essence of femininity is an uncovering underneath a perfect covering. The essence of masculinity is to be so powerful in my covering that there's an uncovering. And so there's a vulnerability that automatically happens because I'm my character's so high that my daughter, my sons uncover to me as a child their heart. And that's where it talks about in Malachi, the father's heart is toward the child, the child's heart is toward the father, is because the father's provided that safe covering. This is why our wives don't have a safe place to share. Our children we don't have a safe place to share with each other because our covering is conditional for each other. No, brother, I got your back. I got your back unconditionally. Yeah. You are covered. Now, it doesn't mean I'm going to participate if you decide to go out and do something stupid. It does mean that I'm here for life. I will help you face. I'm not going to own the consequences for you. That'd be enabling. But I will stand next to you as you face the consequences.
Now, I remember you saying, like the last conversation we had, you said in order for a guy to become a man, he must be able to withstand the inspection. Mm-hmm. You said something to that effect. If I'm going to have that solid character for that covering that gives everybody underneath my covering the freedom to uncover, how much of that inspection am I going to have to endure in order to give them that, that vulnerability to open up?
Until my ego is completely broken.
Oh.
And truth is designed by God to break you. If you have a man-to-man relationship with truth, it will do it. It says in Psalm 45, truth, get on your horse and ride, O mighty one. on behalf of truth, humility, and justice. And what truth will do, it will humble you. In fact, truth, we said this before, truth, the only thing that should humble you should be truth. It should not be a person. It should not be a thing. It should be the divine truth of God. And sometimes it's just the truth. Sometimes it can be out of the mouth of a heathen. And so when you're humbled by truth, then that humility will teach you the right fight. It'll teach you what battle to fight, what battles to. I'm not going to fight that battle. I'm going to lose that battle so I can win the war. So only truth will teach you that.
So Doc, I guess to get back to the question, what can we do or say to someone that's too hurt to love again? I've just been through too much, Doc. I'm not gonna do it. I ain't gonna do it. What can you say to somebody that's like that?
You got to find a safe place to heal. You got to find a safe place to bleed, to exhale it out, and to begin to process the pain. You've got to experience at a being level, how did they hurt you? You were hurt at the core of who you are. You exposed something and you got hurt, and you have to process through that. You have to exhale that out. And that can take being by yourself. That can take writing. That could take singing. My son would put songs together. My wife paints. My daughter runs. My son does music. So I used to play like 3 chords on the guitar, and I just go play those 3 chords till my fingers were bleeding. Just kind of like David, just singing. Some go through the Psalms of David, which are amazing. Helping you. You got to get it out. If you keep swallowing it, it's going to lead to repression, eventually going to lead to depression. Then you're going to be throwing up on everybody around you. I created a closet. My wife and I before we had kids, we emptied out a closet, and that became our bleeding space.
Oh, wow.
And we would go into that closet, and I hung a little lamp in there so you could go in there, and I'd hear her, and I could hear her praying to God, trying to get this. You've got to get it out. If a pain stays in you longer than 24 hours, your soul grabs it and hides it in your subconscious.
Oh,
wait a minute.
Wow.
Wait. You 24 hours?
24 hours, you will forget about it.
Oh, wow. It's there, but you pushed it from your conscious mind to your subconscious, and now it becomes part of your makeup.
And you think you're okay, and you're moving on. Now you got another picture matching the narrative. This is why I see this where you see someone, they're hurt and they swear I'm not going to do it again, but at a being level, they long to be a part of somebody else. And it hurts them. Say, why am I doing this? Well, at a being level, you're wired to be there for somebody else, but your head is so programmed that you're going to go with somebody that's not ready to be in a relationship, because there's going to be a physical attraction or some type of soul attraction instead of a being attraction, because your being's not available.
Soul attraction versus being attraction. Let me get LaShawn. LaShawn said, that's my plan. I don't ever want to love again, and I'm done with my healing. So I'm guessing she's saying she's done her healing and she's making a choice not to go there again. Okay. I'm assuming.
And as long as she doesn't, it's a want of her being. Some people are perfectly content when they finally get rid of all their needs. I don't need a man. I don't need a woman. I don't need a relation. I'm good. I'm good all by myself. It's me and the Lord. I'm healthy. And if that's a want, 100% stay there. That's awesome. However, I need to be done with my healing. I need to be, so this doesn't influence me. When that need creeps in there and is so subconscious, you've got to be careful, because you're going to end up again in another relationship.
So yes, exactly. That's what I'm saying. The same thing. Like, how could you not? How could you not? If you're dating, if you're seeing people, that's what we go toward. Especially the older we get. Now, if you're young, okay, but when you're older, we date towards something. Yeah. Most people don't want to. Most people our age now don't want to just date. They want to date towards something. I just find it hard. Not to want. Because don't everybody want to be loved by somebody?
No. There's some people that are self-contained. There's some people that just have this natural ability to be able to. They have fellowship, they have community, but they don't need somebody being there 24/7. And that's just, there's people that are there, especially as people get older and their children are grown and they realize, hey, I kind of like this. I kind of like this freedom. And as long as it's at a want level, this is what gets us into trouble, is older men will say, you know, I don't want this, or want, especially, man, I could not believe the number. It used to be 80-20 of men and women messing around, men at 80, women at 20. Now it's about 50-50.
Yes, right there together.
And it's together. And it's these women are saying, hey, I'm done with this. I don't want the responsibility. I don't want. And so what they're moving out of need. And what's going to happen is they're going to wake up and realize that they wanted somebody to be there. They were wired for somebody to be there. And now they got to accept second best, third best. And there's you're living. And so the kids look up at that and said, I ain't doing that. It's mom and dad, you got no, I don't like what you got. You know, you guys are deacons or you're the pastor or whatever, but what you got, I'm not sold on it. That's why we see our kids not getting married.
Okay, Jasmine says, you can't expect anyone to heal where you hurt but yourself. Oftentimes we seek it in others to make us happy, but you have to know yourself and make yourself happy before joining someone else. You know, I see a lot of pain posing as power. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I see a lot of people, they're so enraged and they've turned their pain and they won't let it go because they feel empowered by it. And so they have this attitude, this attitude that's very off-putting. But I'm like, how do you let go of that pain if you feel like it's empowering you?
If you've been hurt, I was abused as a child, and let me use the word naked. And don't think of the word naked as no clothes. Think of the word naked as no power.
Okay.
Job said, naked I came from my mother's womb, naked I shall return. He's implying that naked he is right now. He just lost his children. He lost all of his beloved servants. He lost all of his money. He's lost his wife, even though she's there. Eventually he'd lose his friends. And so what I swore is that I would never be without power again. And that anger and that hate I had made me very wise. I could walk into a situation and I could discern who was an abuser in the group. That hate empowered me. It consumed me. It consumed my marriage. It affected my children. I'm dealing now. That's what I dealt with over the last few months, is to go to my children and said, hey, it was at an acceptable level for a pastor to have that type of suppressed hate because you couldn't see it. My kids could see it. My wife could see it.
So they see you all the time.
They called it landmines. They knew. Oh, you know, Dad gets this look in his eye. Don't step on it.
I'm just amazed because you deal with people that deal with stuff all the time. I don't know. And I know you're human. I'm not taking that from you. You're not God, but right. I'm really surprised hearing you say that. Wow, that you dealt with that stuff, because I would have thought most of the time we deal with ourselves first, but that's not
any counselor is a counselor still looking for their healing. Any counselor.
Wow.
They're in counseling because they're looking for their healing. Now, some have found it. I'm not saying they haven't found it. I'm saying the main reason we get into counseling is because we're looking for our own healing.
Wow. I want to get Grace's comment real quick. She says, I realized that feeling that a person making me feel safe is not enough. I thought that was enough. I need more than love and safety. My requirements have changed. The root is a mother wound. So she's saying because of something that happened with a mother, she needs more than just love and safety.
What happens is when you're hurt by a mother, especially womb to 6 years age, there are 25 steps you fall down.
Oh.
And it's down to a 0.0. It's down to a severe damage. And there are 25 steps you got to make up out of that, where you have to have that poison, those lies that were put into you as a child that echo in your subconscious. Otherwise, they keep coming out. They'll come out to your children. They'll come out to your spouse. They'll come out. If the people step on your nerves in the right way, you'll get this explosion of, where did that come from? I'm a good person. I'm a nice person. I'm an educated person. Why am I throwing up like this? Well, because they stepped on those pictures that are suppressed in your soul. And a mother wound is the deepest of all.
So let me give Paula, because she's saying, how do you get over that hate/hurt you experienced as a child.
You have to go back and in a way let's say you are 5 years old. You have to give that 5-year-old permission to cry as a 5-year-old and to get their grief out. You have to give them, as this adult, here I am, I'm 63 years old. I have to give this 5-year-old young guy just this unbelievable space to be able to exhale when his mother's trying to kick him and kill him. And he looks in her eyes and he sees this hate. And I have to go back and experience, I have to release that breath that has been held down for almost 60 years. And I have to give an expression to that. And I have to let the 5-year-old express it however he wants to. Drawings, writing, cussing if necessary. I've had people in my office cuss. And I said, I don't care. Just get it out. You got to get it out. We'll ask for forgiveness later. We'll deal with that. But right now, it's very important that we just throw it out.
We don't believe in cussing.
LaShawn says, I'm loved enough by Jesus and myself. I don't want another man. I'm buying a teacup Yorkie soon, and so I'll be just fine. You know, I hear the joking, but I'm hearing something else.
Let me just say this, man, and I've seen this. I just think when we're at an age of where we decide whether or not we want to be with somebody, just let me say, there is nothing like growing old by yourself. There's nothing like not having somebody to sit on the porch with you and you watch the little kids play. There's nothing like it. So before we decide, and Doc, you tell me how wrong I am if you think I'm wrong.
You're right.
But there's nothing in the world like growing old with somebody.
God gives to very, very few people the grace to accept that. Most of us are so deeply hurt in our subconscious, we're pushing away from it because we don't think it's possible. And then we set ourselves up. And I'll tell you what, if you want to see some honest people, go to a convalescent center and man, they'll be honest with you. They'll tell you where they messed up because their kids aren't coming to see them. Their grandkids aren't coming, and there's an honesty and say, hey, I didn't sow into them. I didn't plan into them. And I see it. I see a lot of people. You've got to be careful. Again, if it's a pure one and you know yourself, you're able to tell yourself the truth, and your best friends say, hey, you're right on. Okay, I'm going to back up and say, good. God bless you. You're rare. However, for most of us, sometimes I think I want to be by myself, but I want my wife. I love, John, the picture you just painted. I want us to grow old together. I want to take care of her. And I told her, I said, her mom got really bad Alzheimer's. I said, baby, you need to know this. I got you. I said, you can't do nothing for me. You're yelling at me. You're fighting me like your mama did. I said, I got you, baby. You're covered. You're covered. And I just, because of her dad's drinking, because of some other things, she's fearful that I'm waiting for an opportunity just to kick her to the curb.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because that's what her dad did at 12 years of age. He started drinking. He totally disappeared. And she's waiting for me to do that. She's waiting for me to have an excuse.
LaShawn says, my grandmother did beautifully without growing old with someone. She lived a wonderful life until 82.
Yeah. There's people that do it, especially if they lost, you know, if she had someone and then lost him, they can do it well.
Now, I don't want LaShawn trying to convince me why she can live by herself. If you can, that's by all means. Do you, boo boo? But I'm simply saying it's just so much better having somebody to love you and they love you and you love them back. That's most
of us. That's the way God wired us. So it's the same thing. If you're going to be a doctor, you better go to med school. We are wired for companionship, and if you're hurt, then heal from the hurt, and from that point, make a decision. Not make a decision from the hurt.
There you go. There you go. He said what I was saying, but he went around the corner and said
it. Melissa says, this is good teaching. Thanks. I actually hear you. Wow. She says, I actually hear you. That's key.
That's key. Now that's someone that's being honest. That's someone that's done some hard work.
Well,
wow, man, that was quick.
We're at that time, man. Final thoughts.
All right. Well, so my final thought for this evening is I just hope and pray that this got to everybody that needed to hear it. There's so many of us that are going through so many different things, man. There's nothing like love and being in love and wanting to be in love. And I just pray that this reaches everybody, that this reaches and can help everybody that gets it. That's my final thought.
Oh, my final thoughts. I'm sorry. Just love the venue, love the ability to be able to speak. It hurts me that people are hurting and there's no answers. I would love to be able to help you if you're at a point where you need someone to kind of talk you through. You can get a hold of me through Max-Lifecoaching, Max-Lifecoaching.com. I can help you. I can help you through that. For the one that had the mother issue, get a hold of me. I've got a plan. I mapped out how I healed, and I've got a 50-step process for you to go through. That will be amazing. You'll enjoy it. And it will bring you healing. It'll help you through those processes. For anybody that's been sexually abused, also got 50 steps. How to go down and deal with the deep grief, and then finally get to the point of joy of being free from those memories. Thank you again, John and Derek, for this great joy of being on, joining you on this great show.
You know, there's a lot that goes on in this world around us, and all of the messages that we get when we look at social media, when we look at TV, it seems to reinforce our propensity not to deal with the pain, not to heal. And it's setting us up for failure. There seems to be this perpetual cycle of hurting people, hurt people. How do we pull up out of this? I think Dr. Rod gave us some great advice tonight, but the important thing is to acknowledge and be aware of where you are. Be aware of the hurt that you have and get somewhere where you can air out those wounds. I tell people there's a difference between wounds and scars. Wounds still have pain attached, but scars, there's evidence that there was trauma. There was evidence that something happened, but if you touch it, there's no pain attached. Many of us have wounds that haven't healed, and we're posing as if they're scars, but we have to be honest with ourselves. If we're going to really have healthy relationships, if we're really going to move forward and really have a productive relationship with another person, then we have to, like Dr. Rod said, acknowledge what happened in the past. Clean that wall out of those pictures that's on your soul that's displaying the wrong things. Because if you really desire a relationship, there's work that has to be done. So let's be brave enough to do the work that it requires. And that's our King Speaks for this week.
Wow, man. Time flew by.
It was.
Flew by.
It was.
Wow. Man, if I can just say, you know, a lot of times when people tell you stuff, you know, Dr. Rod said, "Hey, John, you guys can call me anytime." And I heard it, but I was like, he don't really mean that. Because I must admit, I was somewhat surprised when I reached out and you were like, "Yeah, sure." I was like, "Oh, we actually got it." But I got it. You're awesome. My man. You're my man. You're my man.
Awesome. Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Appreciate you.
John, you have an amazing heart, and Derek, you too. You guys, what you're doing here, the sacrifice that you're making, is humbling, and it's very humbling to be a part of the great work of God that you guys are doing. So thank you for the privilege.
Thank you for being open to coming and just sharing with us. I think you blessed a lot of people, and we definitely appreciate you being here.
Yeah, thank you.
Everybody.
Yeah, anything you guys need. I mean, you guys want to put something together? The answer is yes.
Yes, relationship conference. We there. We own that. Matter of fact, we own it right now. We're thinking about it right now. Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Anything.
So everybody put that in your back pocket. Be looking for that. We're gonna work on something and put something together.
Absolutely.
But we do have something coming up soon. Mm-hmm. We're going to do a live video recording at Brooklyn's Cuts and Designs in Frisco.
Yes.
Right? It's going to be cuts and conversation with me and comedian John Yogi, and we're going to have some guys, and we're going to be in the barbershop, and we're going to have some real conversation about some man issues.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a live recording. It's going to be recorded. It's something we're going to put out, and it's going to bless somebody. I feel like it's really going to bless somebody. So be looking for this. It's coming up. The recording, we're going to do the recording on the 29th at Brooklyn's Barbershop, and it's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. We're looking forward to it and looking forward to bringing this video to you guys. So be looking out for this coming up soon. And we got, like I said, we got some other things in the works as well, especially this relationship conference. And, whatever we're going to do, we're going to work that too. So like I said, be looking out, Man Talk Mondays. We putting some things together. Yeah, so listen, we ain't gonna prolong the time. We appreciate everybody that hopped on with us tonight, everybody that listened. Remember, if you want to get in touch with Dr. Rod, the information, we'll post that to our Facebook and everybody, so you can get that as well. So you can go and check in with Dr. Rod whenever you need to. And Dr. Rod, we want to just thank you again for just great conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to thank you again, man, for opening up, getting through what God bring you through what you were going through, man, so you can open up and build and bless into God's people, man. I'm really happy about that, and I'm sure people are as well.
God moved me from a pain center to a peace center.
Oh, wow.
I used to heal people out of my pain. Now I heal people out of my peace.
Whoa! Did you feel that? I felt it was.
Wow! Yeah. Felt it in my right hip.
Yeah.
Listen, we appreciate everybody. We're gonna catch y'all next Monday. Thank you for joining us. We'll catch you all next week. Peace out.
Be blessed.
BS3 Network, changing the way you watch TV.